guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia for those who do not know, and in today's video I wanted to give some tips that I think would best prepare you to be the best NICU nurse that you can be. If you're interested in videos like this, then make sure you keep on watching. And just a quick little thing, I've been a NICU nurse for about a year and 2 months now, and that is the only nursing specialty that I've ever been in. I did that straight out of school, new grad, and I have a whole bunch of videos talking about me being a new grad nurse in the NICU. So if you're interested in stuff like that, you will love my channel. If you guys want to hear these tips that I want to give you, I have about 6. Make sure you keep watching. Let's get into the video. Alright, so as I was saying earlier, I have about a year and 2 months of experience in the NICU. Obviously, I am forever learning, but I feel like these are just 6 tips that I feel like has helped me become the best NICU nurse that I can be. Obviously, every day is not perfect. No nurse is perfect, but I just feel like this may help a little bit. I got my handy dandy notebook here with all of my notes just so I don't forget anything. Oh my gosh, where is it? Okay, so tip number 1, what I would say would be to make sure that you are compassionate and you're active listeners to these parents. So when you think about it, you talk to the babies and you do their cares for them and everything like that, but the parents are also your patients as well. They're the ones that you talk to, they're the ones that you give updates to, they're the ones who know everything going on. The baby doesn't really know what's going on with them, do you know what I mean? Because they're brand new. So I feel like make sure you're compassionate, listen to them. Sometimes those parents just need to vent, and sometimes they just spill all of their stuff out to you, which is totally okay. Obviously, you don't give your opinion on a lot of it, but you just sit there, and sometimes that helps them so much just by listening to what they have to say. It could be something totally unrelated to the baby, but you being there as a person taking care of their baby, a lot of the times they feel very fortunate to have you there, and they get to feel really comfortable with you, and that's just how it works. So being compassionate, listening, and this is a really tough time for them during this time, obviously, because their baby's in the hospital, not at home with them, their baby's pretty sick. So yeah, just making sure that you're being open, compassionate, and just listening to them are things that I feel like would make you the best NICU nurse possible, because you deal with parents a lot. They are your patients as well, which is, I just think, something that you should remember. So that was tip number 1. All right, tip number 2 would be medications. So, obviously medications are very important in any specialty that you're in, but in the NICU, I feel like it is the utmost importance. So I say when you have your meds, make sure you are double checking them twice, if not 3 times. Make sure you do your 5 rights. Make sure you scan your med. Make sure you check it with the MAR. Make sure you do all of that, because with these babies in the NICU, a lot of their meds are really, really small doses, and babies are really, really fragile to literally anything that you do to them, which is why things are so exact and there's so much math involved in the NICU. There's meds that you give 0.1 milliliter. 0.1, like you barely see that. You see it in the syringe and you give it a little push, and that is something that can totally affect them. So I would say making sure that you check those meds. If you need to, check them with other people as well. Some meds such as like fentanyl, and what other meds do you need to check? Like morphine, a lot of those you have to check with someone else anyway, but fentanyl is a really big one that you have to like cross-check. You check with someone else, and you could check with another person as well, because those can have really bad side effects, as you know, if you're in school or if you already finished school. Some of the meds too that we give, it says to give them orally, but some meds you need to like mix in with their milk, because if you give it to them straight in their mouth, sometimes they brady, which is not obviously, but it's when the heart rate goes below 80, and that's what we call a brady in the NICU, bradycardia. And you don't want the baby to do that, because then that's going to set them back from going home, and there's no need to make them have a brady when they do it by themselves all the time. So making sure that you mix it with the milk instead of just giving it straight in the throat. And if you have to give it through the tube, make sure you maybe put a little bit of air or a little bit of milk behind it. There's so many things. Just make sure that you are checking your meds, and that is the one that I feel like I should stress the most. I probably should have put it as number 1, but we're here now. It would be number 2, is to actually check your medications multiple times. Can't stress that enough. Literally can't. And especially with everything going on in the nursing community, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, make sure you are checking your meds. Just take that time. It's okay if you're going to be a little late on your cares or whatever you're doing next. Take your time. All right, tip number 3 would be to work as a team. In a NICU that I work in, we have a pod style, so there's 6 to 8 babies depending on the room that you're in, and sometimes they're always full or sometimes they're not. But your days can sometimes get crazy. So working as a team would be really, really important. Not only is that person, we call them roommates, not only is your roommate or 2 roommates there to help you, they're also there for you to ask questions. Sometimes when people collaborate as a team, things start to make more sense, you bounce ideas off of each other, and you're working together. Of course, you always have your charge nurse there, but you go to your roommates first. It's like a level of hierarchy thing. You don't just go straight to your charge nurse or straight to your manager when you have a question. You ask around in your room first, and then you go to your charge nurse. So sometimes you'll have multiple parents at the bedside visiting your infant. Those people or your other fellow nurses in the room can helping with the parents, seeing if they need water, if they have any questions. Sometimes the babies are having those alarms, like I mentioned earlier, like bradycardia, and a lot of the times you have to stimulate them, so rubbing their sternal area, rubbing their back, just trying to get them out of it to increase their heart rate up. So sometimes you need to help them with that. Sometimes, like I said, those questions, literally to push milk through the pump, you just really need to work as a team. If you are not a team player, then I do not really think that NICU pod style is for you, because someone is with you in the room at all times, and as though you think that you wouldn't really be a team player or you wouldn't like it, over time you start to learn it and you're like, okay, I really enjoy having someone else in the room in case you have questions, in case things are going on. Let's say the baby's poop is a funny color and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I should talk to the doctor yet. You talk to your roommates before you really do anything, which is really, really nice. I think that pod styles are very beneficial, and I really, really like them actually. First, I didn't know how I felt about them. Now I like them for sure. Number 4 would be to have a positive attitude. I feel like that is, not to my own horn or anything, but is one of my strengths, is what I would say, because you have to walk into there with a positive attitude. You are starting a new day of work. You are just doing everything that you have to do. And some days, being in the NICU, especially a level 3 that I'm in currently, I can only imagine a level 4, but it gets very stressful. Patients sadly pass away, or patients are really sick and parents are having a hard time coping with it. Not obviously being all chipper in there if something's totally horrible, but I feel like having a positive mindset or an attitude in your own mind is what can help you from getting not stressed out, not burnt out, not taking work home with you, all of those types of things. Like I just said, don't be chipper, walk around in there, hey, how's it going, when there's something really drastic happening, but just having a positive attitude with yourself. I kind of just repeated myself, but that's kind of how I'm trying to explain it. You walk into work, you start a new day, you work 12 and a half hours, so you need to just get into that mindset of let's go. I feel like if you go in there with a negative attitude, your day is going to be long, you're not going to give great care, you're not going to be fun to be in a room with your roommates, you're going to be dreadful. So I just feel like having a positive attitude can help a lot when it comes to working as a NICU nurse, especially because a lot of sad things happen and you want to just try to take it all in, but being able to leave it at work if possible is something I think is important. And also things to remember with that, trying to have a positive attitude. If anything does happen really sad and it affects you really badly at work, I always suggest on having counseling, because a lot of hospitals, which I hope every single one does, but has counseling. If you need to talk to anybody, if you need to talk to a chaplain, if you need to take a day off, you literally need to do what is for you, just to make sure that you are still keeping yourself at the highest, because you need to. You are the one that are actually functioning, taking care of these babies. I hope that one made sense, but I repeated myself multiple times. I hope that it did. All right, number 5, it's kind of mixed in with number 3 as working as a team, but it's important to always ask questions in the NICU. As I mentioned, medications are very small, which can be drastic to them. Anything can be drastic to them. Weaning them on their oxygen too much can be drastic to them. Literally anything. So asking questions. A lot of the times there's so many protocols that you have to know. Let's say you have to put in a UAC, or you have to start or prime a UAC and you haven't done that in a while. Why don't you ask somebody in the room how to do it instead of trying to do it and then messing it all up? Do you know what I mean? Or let's say starting an IV. Sometimes you need help. What do I do again? I haven't done this in a while. Or maybe you're using a new type of oxygen system and you're like, ooh, I'm not really sure what to do. Ask your RT. Maybe you're like, oh, this baby isn't eating so well. Ask speech. Maybe this baby you're thinking may have clubbed feet and they didn't notice that before. ask OT or PT. It's just so many things. We work as a team when it comes of being in the NICU. And I think that it's really important just to ask questions when you need to ask them. So another things would be, obviously, if there's questions that you can ask someone else, do that. But a lot of times where I work, asking doctors questions that you think that aren't that big of a deal is okay to ask them. It's better to be safe than sorry. And it's better to be safe than sorry. And that's something that I always say when I'm talking on the phone. Be like, I'm not sure if this is anything that is severe or drastic or any change in this baby, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And that's all that you can do. It could be, oh, that's literally nothing, that's something common. Great, now you know for next time. Or what if you just caught something that no one else caught? So it's best to ask questions. It's best to just do it if you feel like there is something that is a little different. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Everyone is forever learning, whether you've been in the NICU for 2 months or 20 years. Things change and questions need to be asked. And I think that's just best to make sure you keep your patients in mind. Like, you need to keep your patients in mind, put your pride aside, and ask that question that you think may not be a big deal, but could really affect them quite a bit. All right, the last one would be number 6. This is to make sure that you are updated on all of your protocols of your hospital, which is very, very important because nursing is forever changing. Nursing is going to have a protocol that says this is the best thing that you should do, and then they change it and they're like, that is absolutely not the best thing to do, you need to do it like this. So make sure that you keep up with like your learning education, making sure that you're keeping up with all of those protocols. Like when they send them on the emails, read them, because you do not want to be the one that's doing it wrong and stuck in the past on how you used to do it, and then you get in trouble for doing it wrong, all of that type of stuff. So I just, like, sometimes they'll be like, oh, you don't need to clean with this solution when you're giving an IV, it needs to be this, if this baby is this weight, or if this baby is this age, or if this baby has this. It's just so many things and so many different things that it's important to kind of know it in your brain. The good thing is that you can always go back and like reference your guidelines or your protocol of your hospital, but trying to remember a few of them, especially ones that you use all the time, would be very important. But at hospitals, sometimes people are trying to have all of these audits and trying to make things that are better for the baby. So now we have these protocols like cleaning the bedside more often, or making sure we clean the baby's butts with certain products, or making sure that we are doing our safety checks, or just making sure that we're doing everything, or also making sure that the temperature is set at the right temperature for the baby's age, which is a protocol. You don't want to have them baked in there when they get really old, because they can start regulate their own temperature, or when we should start bottle feeding and all that type of stuff. There's just so many different protocols, and it's important to stay up to date as much as possible. So I hope that one made sense too, but I feel like I'm just rambling on when I'm saying this type of stuff, but I think that made sense. Make sure you stay updated on your protocols. Alright, just to end this video, I just want to go over again my top 6 tips for being the best NICU nurse that you can be. And I would say number 1, to be compassionate and an active listener to parents. Number 2 will be to check your meds, double check your meds, triple check your meds, do the 5 rights. Number 3, work as a team. Number 4, have a positive attitude as much as possible. Number 5, ask questions. And number 6, make sure you stay updated on protocols. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. These are just my tips that I think would be helpful to make you the best NICU nurse that you can be. Obviously, there's other things, but these are the 6 that popped up in my mind, and I was like, I've been doing this for quite a while. I think these things are helpful that try to make me be the best NICU nurse that I can be. If you have any questions, make sure you guys leave them down below. Make sure you like this video, comment down below, and subscribe for more content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, beautiful.